Hey, I'm Sarah, and with the rising costs of everything at the moment, the cost of fruit loaf, I've been told, has been going up in the supermarkets. Not like the cakey stuff, but more like the slightly bready stuff that's got lots of dried fruit and things in it. You often have it as toast or something like that for breakfast, and so I thought I would show you a really easy recipe. Okay, so in a bowl, just adding 210 mils of warm water. I'm just using warm tap water. A cup is about 250 ml in New Zealand, so a bit less than a cup. So I'm going to mix that in with about 35 grams of sugar and one sort of heaped teaspoon of yeast. I use the fast acting bread maker's yeast. Give them a wee mix up together. Yeast loves sugar. So often if you have trouble getting your bread to rise, add a little bit of sugar in with the yeast. Normally I don't do it with my standard loaf of bread, but it's quite nice when you're doing a special loaf like this one. Add a bit of sugar in there. I'm going to add to that 45 grams of melted butter. Add a little mix in. 360 grams of flour. Now I'm using high grade flour, but I imagine plain flour would be fine. And 1 teaspoon of salt. Give that a nice mix up together. So a nice little dough ball there. I'm going to cover this up. Just going to cover it with a tea towel and leave that for about an hour. You want it to about double in size. Now the temperature of the room will depend on how long it takes to rise. You may need to wait an hour and a half or maybe even 2 hours if it's a cold day, but it's reasonably warm here today, so that is it for now. I will go away, I'll do my thing for an hour and I'll see you back here. Alright, so now what we want to do is add the fruit mixture in. Now you can add whatever kind of dried fruit you want. You can get fancy and put, cranberries or dried cherries or that sort of thing in. I'm just sticking with, I went and bought some sultanas and I've got some currants, so I'm just going to use those. Personal preference, I'm actually just going to mix it in and see what it looks like. I'm going to start with 1 cup of dried fruit. Press the dough down a bit and a bit of air should come out. That shows that the yeast has been doing its thing. So half a cup of that, half a cup of sultanas. We also want to add about a teaspoon of spice in there. I'm just going to use some mixed spice, but put a bit of a mixture of cinnamon, nutmeg, cardamom, you do you. I'm just putting a teaspoon in. Don't want to overpower it, but just add that bit of yummy. And about half a teaspoon of vanilla essence. Make my hands in there. I'm just going to get a little bit more flour just so that it doesn't get sticky on my hands. And I'm just going to mix that around so that the fruit and the spice all get nicely incorporated into the dough. Seems to be nicely mixed in there. Look at that. That's just pretty, that is. I'm going to put this lovely little fruity ball into a loaf tin. So, just going to press that down in there. And we want to, again, walk away. Leave it for about an hour, maybe 2 hours. We'll come back, see how we're going. Right. Look at that. That has risen up lovely. Olivia's microwaving herself an apple. So I'm going to put this in the oven for about 35 minutes at 175 degrees. If you want a nice sort of brown glazy top on, you can do an egg wash. Just mix up an egg, brush it over the top, and you get a nice brown glazy crust on it. I'm not going to do that because I need my eggs because I'm making pasta tonight. Now after it has been in the oven for 35 minutes, I'm going to turn the oven off and actually just open the door and leave it. Now you need to leave it to cool completely because while it's cooling down, it is still cooking slightly in the middle. So if you take it straight out of the oven, while it's still hot and try slicing it, it will be still quite doughy and probably quite yeasty tasting in the middle. So unfortunately you do need to leave this to cool down, painful as it may be. How awesome does that look? Pretty awesome, judging by the queue that's forming.
This is good. This is good.
I have every confidence that will toast up really nice.
That is very nice. It is very, very, I mean,
Very nice.
Can I try toasting this?
You can try toasting it, yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's more bread, it's not fruit cake, you know, it's not like one of those dense fruit cakes. It is much more bready, but it has got that very, very subtle mixed spice flavour in there. There's all sorts going on here. Some people are buttering them, some are playing it, toasting it.
I'm just running off to enjoy it.
What do you reckon, love?
It's actually
I
really
reckon that
nice
is-
just as it is, but I'm toasting
Yeah.
it. Is that what you do?
I reckon that is really nice. And I mean, you got the option, you can add a bit more sugar or a bit more spice if you want that flavour to come through more. Slightly sweet, slightly spicy-ish piece of bread.
You're going to make
Yummy. Is it good with butter on? There we go. Give it a go. Hit like, leave us a comment, hit subscribe, and make some of this. Bye.